We will not copyright or trademark that. We do not have the rights to this at all. Please do not sue us. Thank
you. Welcome to These Unprecedented Gays, featuring Joe Granelli and Paul Smith. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review wherever you stream your podcasts. Check us out on Instagram at TUGaysPod and email us at tugayspod@yahoo.com. We hope you enjoy.
Is it? I think we're recording. Oh, we're recording already.
Yeah, you were busy writing your notes, and we were busy I was looking at my Google Doc, and this is how organized we are, aren't we?
We're very professional.
We're really prepared. Super professional.
So I'm Paul.
And I'm Joe.
And we're These Unprecedented Gays.
It is who we are.
So, Joe, how was your week?
I'm glad you asked.
And I'm glad I always ask.
You do. You know, it's pretty.
You never ask how my week is first.
You're right. You're very right.
You're so selfish that way.
Well, it's like our thing. Like, you ask me how I'm doing, and then I talk about how I'm doing, and then I ask you how you're doing, and then we usually talk about Drag Race or, like, political downfalls of, like, the Republican Party.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. No, my week was good. I got my COVID booster on Saturday, and you haven't gotten yours yet, right?
No.
Okay, be prepared.
Okay.
Because it knocked me out.
Mine always does.
Well, but the last booster, did you have any problems? Or
yeah, every booster I've got, every booster and shot I've gotten, that's like laid me out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the booster, the first booster I got was just like, oh my God, I sneezed. And this one, I got it on Saturday morning, and then I woke up Saturday, like midnight, I guess Sunday midnight or whatever, in like a pool of sweat with a fever and chills. And I was like, what is going on? And then the next morning, I was just like, I had a huge headache, and it was not good. But all in all, now I'm protected from the bivalent or whatever that is. I don't know. And I asked the guy. I was like, so how bad was it? He's like, oh, you'll be fine.
Okay.
They always do.
They always do.
And then we watched Marcel the Shell with Shoes on iTunes. Do you remember the little YouTube thing? No? Okay. There was this whole thing, like, I would say like 10 to 12, maybe 15 years ago, and it was this little shell, and Jenny Slate.
Oh, I know this one. Okay.
Right? So she had this thing, it was like, I'm Marcel the Shell, and I have shoes on, and I like whatever. And so they made a real movie about it. And I thought from the previews it was going to be super cute, and like I was going to bawl my eyes out, and I was going to cry, and I didn't do any of those things. And it was like a very slow, just kind of like meh film. Nick loved it because he was like the cinematics of it, the like artistry, and I was like, I needed it to go quicker. And then also my carnivorous plants came in.
Oh yeah,
I know I talked about that, and I have no idea what I'm doing with them, but I'm really excited because I think they eat all the fruit flies.
Okay.
And that's about it for me. What about you?
So we did a volunteer event from my office today at Feeding San Diego. So guys, again, I just have to tell you, like, if you have a chance to like either donate your time or donate money to local charities, please do. Because it's like, it was so awesome to go to Feeding San Diego and help them, bag up produce, and even the stuff that we couldn't use, they were going to take and donate it to farmers so that they could feed that to their animals. So it helps them. So there's no waste at all.
All local, right?
All local.
Nice.
So I was very happy about that. Also, I'm like, I had to have a conversation with a friend because I'm like, they were thinking about dressing up as like Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween. And I'm like, that is not okay.
A little distasteful?
Yeah, just a little bit. I'm like, no, we're not okay with that. Let's not do that.
Good for you. If you see something,
say something. So I'm like, yeah, no, let's not. So that's about my week.
Well, and then are you guys, so I was going to ask, when are you guys going to Puerto Vallarta?
So we leave next week, the 20th of October, and we're going to be there for 4 days. We're so excited. Friends of ours have already shown us what they're packing, and it's just all Speedos.
Was it Michelle Visage?
No.
What's your packing?
No.
What if Michelle Visage is at the place where you're staying and then she asks you what you pack in?
Oh my God.
You have to record it.
I would be like, maybe 5 inches. Because I'm half Asian. But, Michelle, you wanted to know. But anyway, that was my week. So that means we can get into one of my favorite segments.
It's the only. I say that. It's one of my favorite segments. It's the only segment we have. I'm like, I think we have like one. But go ahead, you do you.
Okay. So it's time for mouth to mouth. Mouth to mouth resuscitation. And so before we get into this, everyone, we do have a special guest in the studio, virtually.
Well, they don't need to know that. She's actually here in the flesh.
She is an author, a filmmaker, a podcaster, a
producer,
YouTube creator, everything.
Storyteller, everything.
Please welcome Fiona with us.
Hey, Paul and Joe. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Here.
And you're in
fabulous.
Austin, correct?
I am in Austin, Texas. Yes, I live in a camper on an RV park downtown. I try to keep it as weird as possible.
Do you have a compostable toilet?
Not quite. The whole toilet situation.
She had to think about that. She's like,
So, it's actually quite funny. It's almost compostable, I guess, because one of the recent challenges I've had is like the RV has a sewer line, right? So every 4 days you empty the sewer line down into the sewer hole. Well, I've been living on this park for like 3-4 months, and animals keep eating my sewer line. So I'm like, it's time to flush, and I'll open it up, and there's like teeth marks, and then
oh my God.
Oh, I know. So I'm like,
what does
shit, literally shit, stop.
I was like, what does your shit smell like that they are going trying to get used to that?
She's got a good diet. We'll put it that way. Organic. I feel like you eat kale. You got spirulina or whatever.
I think I clearly have the sweetest, prettiest poo on the park,
Yeah.
Well, you can put that out there for people. Like if you have a Tinder bio, I would put that in your Tinder bio or something.
Animals love my shit.
You will take my shit and love it, just like the animals do.
Oh my God. No, that's so bad.
All right. So we have Fiona on because we want to talk to her, but first we have to do what's giving us life, what we're living for, everything, including you, Fiona. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes. We'll do me and Joe first, so you have some time to think about it, okay?
Okay.
That'd be good?
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
So I'm going to go first.
Okay.
So we're low carb right now, and even though I haven't been great at it, like Andy's much better at it than I am.
Well, you're like low carb, but then like kind of carb, right?
Yeah. So my favorite snack right now is chicharrones with bitchin sauce.
What's a chicharron?
It's a fried pork rind. Like pork skin.
There's no carb in that.
Right? There's no carbs in it, and there's like one carb in the dip. Because it's like an almond-based dip.
I thought bitchin' sauce was vegan. Oh, almonds are vegan.
Yes, it's almonds are vegan. But it's delicious. So, like, anyone who doesn't know, that over here in San Diego, we have a sauce company that makes this thing called bitchin' sauce.
It's
and
so good.
And it's so good.
I feel like they distribute everywhere.
They probably distribute now nationwide. So if you don't see it in your grocery store, go online and order it. It's amazing.
It started at the farmer's market. Yeah.
But, like, the chicharrones give me the crunch I need, like a cracker or a chip.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking for.
It's a pork rind.
Right, it's a pork rind,
and then dip it in the bitchin' sauce.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the other thing I'm living for is I've gone back to listening to a group called Pamplemousse.
To who and what?
Pamplemousse. Okay. They do like a lot of very cool mashups and covers of songs. So check them out because they do an amazing cover of "Good as Hell" and "Lovely Day." It's really good.
With Bill Withers?
Yeah. So it's a great mashup. So check it out.
It's funny that you said you're obsessed with pork because I'm also obsessed with pork this week. But I'm so not just like pork rinds because I think pork rinds are good, but I don't usually crave them. But I discovered air frying pork tenderloin, and so that's what I'm like really obsessed with because it's easy and it only takes 20 minutes.
If you bread the pork chop or pork loin in chicharrones,
oh my God,
It's amazing. So much good crutch.
I feel like that I don't know, but because it's too porky.
Okay.
But I mean, I would wrap it in bacon. So like,
exactly.
So that's one of my things. And then the other thing is the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer.
Oh God.
So what?
No, go ahead.
So I was like, I thought that it was going to be stupid. And then I watched it. I was like, okay, this is actually really well animated. And I'm like kind of excited for it.
Well, we're this close to a Super Mario, like a Smash Brothers movie, because they have a lot of the characters like Sonic and Pikachu and
it's
Mario.
The next one. You know
I
that.
hope so.
But what's also making me chuckle is that there is such an uproar because like Chris Pratt doesn't have an Italian accent.
Right.
And it was like, maybe the fans who are mad about that should go join forces with the fans who are mad about Ariel being black.
Yeah.
And then they can all just go away. Because it's
They're
like,
probably the same people.
you're right. But like, I get like devout video game fanatics and all that stuff, but I'm like, whatever. Let Mario be whatever. It's an adapted film.
Guess what? They're both animated characters.
Yeah, I know. They never were real.
Yeah.
It's not true to them. Yeah, whatever. So that's me.
So what about you, Fiona? What are you living for? What's giving you life?
Well, I haven't knowingly eaten meat for 11 years, so mine's not going to involve pork.
No pork.
I love that she said knowingly.
Because there's so much crap in things, I'm sure that I've accidentally had something at some point, but not knowingly or intentionally eaten pork since 2011. However, I live in Austin, as we said. And are you all aware of the ACL, like the music festival? Have you heard of ACL?
Yes, it just happened, right? Just this past weekend.
So we just had weekend 1, and then coming up is weekend 2. And so I am living for my hearing aids.
You have hearing aids?
Yes. So this is I'm kind of excited about it because my hearing has been deteriorating for over a decade, and I have tinnitus, like constant ringing in my ears. Right ear doesn't work very well. Left ear is okay. So I had hearing aids first in 2019, but I accidentally lost them in Newark Airport. And then the pandemic happened, and I didn't have health insurance and all that crap. And so recently I'm back on my feet, and like I've got this really cool health insurance. So I decided I needed my hearing aids back. So I've got these new hearing aids for about 4 months now, and I'm now officially certified as a person with a disability. And it means that when I go to a music concert, I get to go at the front in the ADA section so that I can see the person that's signing. So I got to watch the Chicks, Pink, Lil Nas X, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the front, and they're signing, and I swear it was life-changing because although I've been able to understand language, just being able to watch the signer, even though I haven't learned sign language yet, and I really, really must, but I could still feel the interpretation of it, and I got to experience these songs that I've loved for so long that really get to feel and sense the emotion in a way that I've never been able to do. Like, it was mind-blowing. So I'm living for my disability right now.
As you should.
Good for you. Damn.
So good.
Wow, that's awesome. I've always wanted to go to Austin City Limits because I feel like they have the best lineups usually. And we saw the Chicks. Me and Nick saw the Chicks here in San Diego, and they were amazing. Like, I love them.
When I think of ACL, I don't think of this festival. I think of the anterior cruciate ligament. And I was like, people tear it all the time. I'm a science guy. You guys are like, yeah, music. And I was like, tendon. Yeah, tendon. I have a question about Austin. So one of the things I wanted, because I saw that you moved in 2020. How is it with the whole entire, state being super conservative and like obviously not pro LGBT? Like how do you navigate that with being a member of the community?
Yeah. Well, I'll give a bit more context, actually, because I first moved to Texas in the year 2000, and I lived in Houston for 11 and a half years, and then moved to New York 2011. I was in New York and DC, and then came back home to Texas in 2020. So first of all, spiritually, culturally, just as that sixth sense kind of feeling, I feel like Texas is very much my home. So I absolutely love it. Furthermore, 70% of Texans believe that discrimination against LGBTQ people is wrong. So we have this massive stereotype that everybody hates the queers, but it's actually not true.
Interesting.
Statistically, people are not as anti-LGBTQ plus as you would think. Unfortunately, those in power, i.e. our government, are using this issue, and they're using people's lack of education and knowledge and fear and ignorance about what it means to be LGBTQ, especially trans, and they're using it as a tool, basically, to get voters and to stay in power. And one of the many things why I love living in Texas is because I feel I have a purpose and there's something to do here, because LGBTQ plus people need help, and there's no better way to help than be on the ground. So my company and I were doing some really cool work with Equality Texas, which is the largest statewide organization advocating at a political level for LGBTQ rights. And we've actually got animation that's about to come out. We're talking right now in October 2022. And so from now on, you're going to see some pieces of animation that are going to be distributed on Equality Texas's social platforms. And one example is we've transformed this little girl, Sunny. She's 8 years old, and she goes and testifies and shares her story at the Texas state capitol as a trans girl who really just wants to play sports with her friends. And so we've managed to animate her story. And I just think it's so powerful to be able to have an opportunity to get these stories out there and actually help. So that's how it feels. I would rather live in Texas than New York or LA, I'm afraid.
Wow. Huh. So for our listeners, could you give them a little bit of your background? Tell them about yourself, where you're coming up from, your production company, all that kind of stuff, because we'd really love to hear about all of this.
I need to debunk my accent because I know the West Texas drawl is kind of getting in the way, isn't it?
No.
Oh, yeah.
We love it.
So you sound so Texan right now. So Texan. If you threw in a y'all, I would be like, what? What is this?
Y'all and fixing two are actually my favorite sayings. Oh
my God.
Yeah. But no, I grew up in the UK, but I left in 1998. And I volunteered in Bangladesh for 6.5 months. I lived in Portugal for a year, and then I ended up in Houston in the year 2000. And so the first just under a decade or so of living in Houston, personally, I was married to a cisgender man. I thought I was a woman. I've remained cisgender, but excuse me, I thought I was a woman. I am a woman. I thought that I was straight. I thought I was a straight woman. But I actually ended that marriage and came flying out the closet as a lesbian in 2004 in Houston. And so I was very much a part of the LGBTQ plus community in Houston. In fact, I was the female Grand Marshal for the Houston Pride Parade in 2009. And then professionally, by the year 2010, I decided to just quit my corporate job, which was in corporate social responsibility, and start my own company as a filmmaker, because I really believe in the power of storytelling and media to educate, entertain, and inspire. So it was right back then I came up with the concept of Now with Fiona, and Oprah was launching her own network, and she had a competition to win your own show. And I realized if I could do anything, it would be to host my own show, sharing positive stories of kindness and courage in the face of adversity. So that's what took me to New York to pursue my media career. Around that time, I came out as bisexual because I realized, hang on a minute, I'm attracted to people of many different genders. So lesbian or gay is not quite the right word. Bi is what feels right to me. And at the same time, I happened to realize that transgender people were still banned in the US military, even though we had repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. We kind of moved on and left trans people behind. And so I decided to start sharing their stories to help elevate the issue. And so that project got picked up by the New York Times. We have this short op-doc called Transgender, A War and Love, got Emmy nominated. And then my team and I, Gabe and Jamie of Side by Side Studios, the three of us continued to make this featured documentary, TransMilitary, that came out 2018. And the ban had ended somewhat, a little shaky there for a couple of years. But I decided at that point, really, there's nothing more that I want to do than host this damn show. So went back into production, had a proof of concept that premiered at the Gina Davis Bentonville Film Festival in 2021, won the jury award. That's awesome. We're still working on the TV show, pitching that. And in the meantime, I wrote a book and released a podcast, and we make animation for corporations and nonprofits. I do speaking engagements. And eventually we'll have some merchandise. So, I'm just kicking back.
Everywhere. I'm like, she's just laid back. She doesn't have anything going on.
I know.
It's fine.
I was looking through the website and I was like, wow, I've done nothing with my life. I was like,
That is not true.
I was like, well, I have carnivorous plants. That's what I can talk about.
Well, because we've had Layla Ireland, who was in TransMilitary, on our show before. So
Amazing.
you know
My
her
sister.
because she was in your movie.
Oh, very well. Yeah.
So I want to touch on this because you started off, like you said, as a straight woman, and you are cisgender, white, all of this, and then you came out as lesbian, then you came out as bisexual, and your book that you have is called "Are Bisexuals Just Greedy?" Now, do you feel like it confuses people when you come out as one and then another?
What do you mean? Like
when you came out lesbian and then you came out bisexual, were people like, really? Can you make up your mind? Kind of thing, or
was it well received?
Well, the gays and lesbians said that. Everyone else thought it was fine. So.
Okay. How ironic. Typical gay community, so judgmental.
I mean, oh my god! Like, I get more shit from the gay and lesbian people than I do from the straight community. Like,
I feel like we're losing one or something.
It's so funny. No, actually, I think really it deserves an applause of a deeper evolution and more introspection as to who you are as a human being. So let me start off by saying I think I came out as lesbian or gay in 2004, which is now a very long time ago. And back then I was advocating for LGBTQ rights, and I was working for an HIV/AIDS organization. So I was like very much entrenched, as it were, within the community. And I think back then, and I realized that I held subconscious biphobia, and I was surrounded by people who identified as gay and lesbian. I knew very few trans people and maybe one closeted bi person. But because of biphobia and bi stigma, people are very afraid to come out. And I think had I known more back then, maybe I would have I would have said, okay, I would have gone from straight to bi. But in fact, most bi people first come out as gay and lesbian before they come out as bisexual. So all of these stereotypes about bi being a gateway to gay and straight is just complete bullshit, quite frankly. And it's because we have stigma and phobia that less people are likely to come out as bi. But studies show that the majority of the lesbian, gay and bi community actually identifies as bisexual. So 57% of the gay, lesbian and bi community actually identifies as bi when asked in an anonymous survey. It's just that people are too afraid to come out as bi. So since coming out as bi, that was harder to come out as bi than it was to come out as gay and lesbian, because when you're gay or lesbian, it's like, oh yeah, welcome to the party in the family. And when people are bi, they're like, well, can't you just be gay? Like, that's not good enough, And also, the future is very, very queer. Like, over 20% of Gen Z identifies as LGBT, and 1 in 6 Gen Z in totality identifies as bisexual. And it's not that something's in the water and people are beginning to like catch on to a fad. It's because younger generations are refusing to fit into these binary boxes. And you'll start to see older people coming out as bi, like Susan Sarandon just came out as bisexual, right? Like, people are beginning to realize actually it never was like just straight and gay. Sexual orientation and identity has always been on a spectrum. Like, I like to think of it as a mosaic. It's a combination of love, romance, and sexual attraction. It can be at different levels, different ways. It can change over time. You're not always equally attracted to somebody of a same or a different gender, so on and so forth. So I think that answered your question.
Well, before we get into the next thing, my follow-up question to that was, because I had the same question. It was, your journey through the different letters of the LGBTQIA++, right? And now that you're in B, like, do you feel that you're not really fully represented in the community? Because I think the B and folks who are bi is just like, whatever, and they don't really get much airtime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for raising this. And if anyone is interested, please go to biplusorganizingus.org.
Yes,
because
work.
I was one of 14 individuals that actually gave a presentation to White House administration last month. So Bisexual Awareness Week culminated on September the 23rd with Celebrate Bisexuality Day. And we actually went and gave the Biden administration a bisexual health policy briefing to explain to them and educate them on the disparities that are faced in the bi plus community. So what happens is that funding, for example, for healthcare needs for the LGBTQ community, you've got less than 1% of funding is going specifically to bisexual health, and whereas we're 57% of the community, and then you've got up to like 20% of funding going for the trans community. And of course, the trans community needs its funding too, but most trans people are also bisexual. So there's that intersectionality.
Oh my God.
And so we've got examples like my dear friend Caffrey, like he's a bisexual man, he's a black bisexual man, cisgender, in a relationship with a woman, tried to go get the monkeypox vaccine and basically got turned away because he didn't qualify because he's in a relationship with a woman. And it's complete and utter bullshit. And so we're finding now, like across the country, there are many federally funded healthcare facilities that are denying bisexual men the monkeypox vaccine. And it's just, that's just like one classic example. So they're like, there's funding. And then think about communications as well. Like in either health communications, in government communications, in media, you'll frequently see, oh, the gay and lesbian community, the gay and lesbian and trans, the gay and lesbian and trans. And that's like one of my, I just want to scream when I hear this. It's like, bisexual people have very different needs from gay and lesbian people, and we need to be recognized for that. And I'll add one more point. And then I'll get off my soapbox if you want. But it's like, if I'm currently single. I'm dating myself because I want to get over my relationship shit. But if I was in a relationship with somebody who is presenting as a male, then I'm going to be seen as straight. If I'm in a relationship that's seen with somebody with female, I'm seen as gay or lesbian. But in fact, I'm always bisexual. And like studies show back from Don't Ask, Don't Tell, when you're not seen and recognized as who you know yourself to be, it is psychologically damaging. So that's just like one of the reasons as to why bi people end up having poorer health outcomes, higher rates of smoking, higher alcoholism, heart disease, all of these things, is because you've got this combination of negativity towards the bisexual community, isolation, and then, potential outing us in different ways. And so that's why we end up having higher rates of intimate partner violence as well. Like partners can use that against a bi person in a relationship. So yeah, we kind of have really sucky health outcomes, but there's a whole group of us that are wanting to like get together and educate people on this, bring all the bi plus communities and organizations across the country together so that we can actually elevate our visibility, because currently we are the invisible majority and we need to be acknowledged as the visible majority. And I bet you many people who currently identify as gay and lesbian and or straight will come to realize actually that definition of bisexual includes me too, So yeah, I could go on for hours.
Amen. Just the other day when I was presenting to Biden, no biggie.
All right, so that's a good way to segue into your book, which is Are Bisexuals Just Greedy? So are they just greedy or what?
They're no more greedy than anyone else. Thank you very much.
Oh, look at that. That was such a politically correct answer. Like, I think a better answer would be, well, you should read the book and find out.
So tell us, what is the book about?
Yeah. So the title, as you just said, is Are Bisexuals Just Greedy? But the subtitle is Animated Answers for All People Who Simply Want to Understand the Spectrum of Being LGBTQ+. So it's a cheeky explainer book. There's 21 chapters that only take up to about 6 minutes to read. And it's answering many direct questions asked of the LGBTQ+ community. The title came about because when I was a teenager, my dad said to me, I can understand men being gay and I can understand women being lesbians, but I think bisexuals are just greedy. And it just stuck with me that he said that. And I never even questioned my own identity, until years later. But once I did come out as bisexual, I realized that this is a thing. Like lots of bi people have heard this, that we're just brushed off as being promiscuous, poly, non-monogamous, want to do all the sex things with absolutely everybody and all the things. And if we do, there's absolutely nothing wrong in that. And like, I'm very sex positive. But at the same time, it's not just the freaking bisexuals. Like there are many people of many different sexual orientations. That love
I think
sex,
this is being
right?
a human. Yeah. I'm a human and I like sex.
But then also let's acknowledge some people are asexual, meaning that you can have little to no sexual attraction. But people who are asexual could also have love and or romantic attraction and therefore be bisexual. And so in the book, it's illustrated by my dear friend, Sid Cordoba, they, them pronouns. And Sid has made it look like a children's book, but it's written for people who are old enough to swear and talk about sex. So it's got a little cartoon of my dog on the front that says warning explicit content. And given that getting an award for your book is kind of a money game anyway, I decided just to put a little gold star on my book, and it says written by a gold star bisexual. I thought the lesbians would like that one.
That's like great marketing. Yeah, put a star on your book. No, it doesn't have to be a Pulitzer Prize. It's just a star. I would buy it. Yeah.
But on the chapter, I think it's chapter 11 is the question, are bisexuals just greedy? And what I break down is identity, attraction, and behavior. And that is everybody of any sexual orientation has an identity and attraction and behavior. And focusing on the behavior thing, oftentimes bisexual people get over-sexualized, especially by women. We're assumed that we're meant to be a straight man's plaything with our friends. Bi men have an even harder time of coming out. Because of misogyny oftentimes, where it's like, gay men, no offense guys, can't believe that a gay guy also is interested in somebody who identifies as a woman and all that stuff. But it's changing, it's getting better. But the behavior is how you act upon your identity and your attraction. And anyone of any sexual orientation can have the same or different types of behavior. So I kind of like end that note with saying, Dad, I wrote the chapter to my father. And I said, Dad, I'm no more greedy than my straight siblings. Thank you very much. So it just continues on. And it's like other questions like which label is better, bisexual or pansexual? And I use the analogy of cherry pie in that one. And then I've got how do transgender women pee in a public restroom? That starts, first of all, it's no one's freaking business how anyone pees in a public restroom. Do all transgender men want a penis? Why can't I just love the sinner and hate the sin? So I'm basically like just breaking down, not just what bi people hear, but what I've heard in my 2+ decades advocacy within the LGBTQ plus community and identifying in this community. It's like shit that we've all heard. And so it's really designed to take home at the holidays, especially because, of course, holiday season is one of the most challenging times for LGBTQ plus people. And so, when that uncle pops off something over the dinner table at Thanksgiving and he's got no bloody idea what gender dysphoria means, you can get my book, read him the chapter, and he'll understand it before dessert is served.
Oh my God, you're saving lives. Just like, well, Uncle Larry, I'm glad that you asked. If we go to page 44...
Saving lives and helping families,
come together. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration for the book? And like, I always find it fascinating with writers, because it's like, obviously it's a process. So like from concept of like, I'm going to write a book to I wrote a book, like how did that all kind of like come to fruition?
Yeah. So I always knew that I'd write a book, but I wasn't quite sure when. And then again, right before the pandemic, I started writing my memoir with my publisher, Publish Your Purpose. So my book is hybrid published. If anyone out there is interested in writing a book, I highly recommend going with Publish Your Purpose. And so I was doing like a workshop on how to structure it and market it. I've always loved writing. So I started writing that book. But at the same time, I was finishing the proof of concept of the TV show Now with Fiona. And in that show, I was sharing a story of a woman who's transgender, who leaves Honduras because she has to escape near murder by the police, travel through Central America, nearly drown in a river, but then is surviving and thriving in DC. And it's like a positive story of hope and courage and love. But I didn't want the audience to get bogged down with what's the difference between someone being cisgender and transgender, because I think people actually know the definition of transgender more than they know the definition of cisgender. And yet, 98% of the people in the world are actually cisgender. They just don't know it. And so I made this 2-minute animation and I just wrote the script. And so as a filmmaker, there are times when, you're writing scripts for stuff. So I wrote the script for this animation. And then I realized, oh my gosh, there are so many other questions that people are asking. I'll just keep writing these scripts thinking that I was going to turn them into animation. And so then it got to the point where I'm writing scripts for animation and I'm writing my memoir. And I'm like, I want to get the scripts in the memoir. And then it got to the point where okay, screw the memoir. Let's do that in another 10 years. I've got a cheeky explainer book. And so that's really what I want to come out in the gate with. And I'm an artist. I love making pretty things that people will enjoy. And it was just, a pleasure to get it out there.
Did you feel like doing it animated was very important to you? Like that was going to be the easiest way for this to go down, kind of like sugar with a pill kind of thing?
Yeah, or as my friend Gabe Silverman says, it's like putting peanut butter on celery. And it's like, I really just want to...
People don't like celery and peanut butter.
But I like putting raisins on it, so you have ants on a...
Do you like celery with peanut butter?
I hate celery, but I love peanut butter. So if I've got to eat celery, then I'm going to smother it in peanut butter.
Well, and then the raccoons will eat your poop. So there you go.
Exactly. It's great. Yeah. But I just wanted to make something that was accessible to people that don't actually really want to read a book. Ironically.
Oh, there you go.
I wanted to make it fun and engaging and quick. I'm also writing it for people who might vote against our rights or don't know what they don't know. I didn't want it. I'm not slapping people over the head or canceling them because they don't know something. I'm just laying it out there. A lot of it is my personal storytelling and my opinion and experience, but then also with facts that back up what I'm saying. So in the book introduction, I say I don't claim to be infallible, but I know I'm not making this shit up. There is facts to back this up. And so I know the power of personal storytelling. And I think it's because I'd started writing the memoir. That's how my personal stories got woven into it. So another example is I said the question, why are we saying, hey guys, to greet women?
Mm-hmm.
It really pisses me off because I'm not a guy. And so, but a lot of people don't know the historical meaning of that word. And it actually goes back to Guy Fawkes, who tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament and kill the King of England and failed, and then was going to get hung, drawn and quartered, so he committed suicide. And then in England in the 1600s, we now have bonfire night every November. So it's November, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. It's because of Guy Fawkes, which is like a disheveled male presenting character. So along with colonization, the word guy comes over and now we're all calling each other guys. And even, women are calling each other guys. And I do say, should I just get over it? Because I know, shit changes with time, that it's let's understand the roots of this language and then realize we've got mailmen, milkmen, men at work, mankind, all this stuff. And it's all centered on gendered language. So I guess there's a bit of history in the book as well. Yeah.
You can always just be your Texan self and say y'all.
Y'all.
When
y'all.
I've been
here a million times.
I work a lot with folks in North Carolina, and my boss was from North Carolina, and he would say y'all, and I was like, that is the most gender inclusive way to address a group of people. Hey y'all.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing.
It is. I absolutely love it, which you can see is another example of how Texans are so inclusive.
I'm moving in there. You know what? You have space in your camper. I'm moving in.
Come on over. It's a riot.
It's only 100 square feet, but we're fine.
So
I have the most...
Go ahead.
I have the most delightful wallpaper, so you have to come just to see the wallpaper, okay?
I'll help the raccoon stop eating your sewer line.
Thank you.
So you have a book release party coming up in New York, is that correct?
I do, yes. So I've got a few that are coming up in the book. So Friday, November the 18th, at the Bureau of General Services Queer Division, which is an LGBTQ plus non-profit bookstore that is located in the LGBTQ Centre in Manhattan. We're having a big event there. So pre-sales have already started, so you could already order the book on Amazon, or you could go to my website. And if you get it on my website, then I ship it 5 days before Amazon, and I'll give you a free gift. And I'm going to have a party on Zoom where everyone can like have a Zoom party and get a tour of the camper, and ask me anything they want. But that's in November. So Tuesday, November the 15th is the public launch date. So we're going to be doing an event in Austin around that. We've got an event coming up in Pensacola. I'm looking to book in Houston, going to Bentonville, like all over. And if anyone is listening and they want to, come and have an event in your city and like talk about the book and have some fun social time, then please just holler, because I would love to schedule anything anywhere across the US. It'd be great.
That would be cool. What if she came to San Diego?
You should.
Yeah.
Is Texas close to San Diego?
We just have to figure out like where and who can host it and all that. So
that seems like details that can be easily ironed out.
So besides the book, you have a lot of other projects in the fire that you've talked about. So can you talk about some of those other ones?
Yeah. So I would say two other things that people might be interested tied to the book, actually. I'm also on YouTube. I'm videoing bedtime stories where I read you a chapter of the book from my camper. So it's like a sneak peek into the book. And on Wednesdays, I have a new podcast episode coming out. So it's now with Fiona. And what I do is I ask my guest one of these cheeky questions. And I asked this amazing friend, Braxton Fleming, who is a Black trans man, do all transgender men want a penis? And so he answers that question.
Wow,
and I asked,
that's talk about a tease.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I asked Rain Valdez, if a straight man wants to make love with a transgender woman, does it mean he's gay? And she answers the question. And so they do their best to answer the question, and then we do a deep dive into their personal story, and then we end on Lionhearts, because I believe Lionhearts are people who've shown kindness and courage in the face of adversity from the LGBTQ plus community. So we talk about positive stories. So that podcast is out now. And then, of course, there's my films, Transgender at War and Love, TransMilitary. But now with Fiona, my website is just a one-stop shop for all the things. Mm-hmm. So come
you got
find
your hand
me.
in everything. You don't dabble, whatever the opposite of dabble is.
I'm in business. Like, my mission is to decolonize the worldview of gender and sexuality. So I've got some shit to do.
You know what? When you recruit an army, just let me know, and I'll go right there with you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm recruiting. Like the TV show, I'm going to be traveling around the camper, traveling around the US in the camper. That's the plan. So, yeah, come on over.
Okay.
Do you drive a truck?
Wait, can I or do I?
Yeah. Well, just learn to drive a truck, and then you can just come,
Don't you
come with
like
me.
what are they? 4-wheelers? No. What's the truck type? 12-wheelers? Like a semi?
No, not a semi.
I can get a new license. I mean, hey, I have nothing better to do.
So what we need to manifest is we really need Ford to donate an electric Ford F-150 and have it bright red. And the bright red can match the camper that's teal. And then we'll drive around the country in the Ford F-150, towing the camper that is named Tiffany the camper's called Audrey, after Audrey Hepburn, because it's the color of Tiffany blue. And that's what we can do. So, yeah, you don't need to drive a...
And then you can name the truck Tiffany after the singer.
Ooh.
What singer?
Oh, I love that idea.
I can't with you right now, Joe.
What singer? Tiffany's a singer? Like Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Now.
Oh.
She's the one who outed Jordan Knight. I'm not Jordan Knight. The other one from New Kids on the Block. The other brother.
Oh.
She outed him,
not
knowing that she did.
This was a little before my time.
Oh, I am so done with you right now.
No, because and also, like, all the history. Like, I'm like, okay, pop song, cool. Okay, so Fiona, I want to know about your Emmy experience. And firstly, were you invited when you were nominated? And like, what was that all about? And if you were nominated between the years of 2016 and 2022, did you meet RuPaul?
No, I did not meet RuPaul.
Okay.
So sorry.
That's fine. He's busy fracking his home for oil. It's true.
So it was an incredible experience. But we were nominated in the news and documentary Emmys that are less fabulous than the daytime and evening and all that jazz. So ours was in New York and it was far less glamorous. So I hate to burst the bubble, but it didn't look like the other evening Emmys. But I was, I went there. Yes, I went there. Yes, we're invited. And ours was right towards the end of the program. And there was, before the event, there was like all free booze and food and everything. But I was so anxious, I did not touch a drop. I wouldn't eat or drink anything because as the name director on the thing, if we won, and at that time I was convinced we're going to win because I believe in manifestation. I was going to have to get up on stage at the Lincoln Center and accept the award. And I was so sat there feeling sick with anxiety the entire thing. Also, I didn't dress appropriately because I was trying to be sexy and wear like black pants and then like a black jacket. And I just have a bra underneath thinking it would look hot. But I sat down, I hadn't tested it. And like my almost was flashing in my boobs the entire ceremony.
No.
So then I'm like thinking, shit, like if we win, then how am I going to not like flash a nipple whilst accepting this award? And so then they show like the little video, like a little clip of the 5 nominees, and the winner is, and then it said some of the film that wasn't ours, and then I had this moment of like, no, and then I was like, oh, thank God for that. I don't have to get up.
The world wouldn't see your boobs that night. Oh my God.
I tell people, okay, I was nominated last time. Next time I'm going to win. Now if Fiona's going to win
absolutely.
Emmys. You watch.
There you go.
Move over, queer eye.
So like, I'm fine with that. You can unseat Anthony Peroski or whatever his name is. I don't like him.
Oh, no, I don't need to unseat any of them because I'm going to have my own show.
There you go.
So you go to a lot of film festivals right now because you're trying to. Can you explain what a proof of concept is and like what does that mean for our for our listeners?
So in the past, like with TransMilitary and The Short, I did a lot of film festivals touring around for that. The proof of concept is slightly different because what I'm working on now is a hosted, unscripted TV show, which is kind of viewed differently in the whole film festival world. And so we've done a few festivals. Like I said, the Bentonville that's with Gina Davis, Mindy Raymond, my executive director, we accidentally met Gina Davis and it was incredible. And we won that. Winning that award was like one of the best moments of my entire life. Like it was even better, I think, than going to the Emmy thing. And then like we've done a few others, but film festivals are less interested in something that's like a hosted scripted series. So the proof of concept is really like, we've got this idea and, this is as much as we could do on this budget, but we've got like a new sizzle video coming out and a pitch deck. And it's just a matter of finding the right production partners and distributors that see the vision of it and realize, oh, wow, yeah, this is an amazing concept. And we can provide the resources, i.e. funding, to be able to like make it into, the biggest, best platform and get it out there. And it's like when you're in this film and TV industry, especially as an independent filmmaker like I am, there's no formula. It's not like you can go to med school and graduate and get a job. Like it's like, let's just make this shit up and see what sticks, So I just live in positivity and faith and just know it's going to happen. And, we're constantly getting offers and interests and then it'll go down a track and then it'll be like, and then it'll go like this. Yeah.
Do you have to pilot it or like, so is it like, you said a TV show that's hosted, like a unscripted TV show. So would that like, do you have a pilot that you then show to these people or like, how does that work? Okay.
So we'd call it less of a pilot and we call it a proof of concept at this stage. So I have like a 27-minute proof of concept show. And if anyone listening wants to see the proof of concept, I will give you a private link and a password to watch it. You know, I'm all about sharing. Okay. So you show the proof of concept, and like, so say if you're pitching like a bigger production company that makes things like Queer Eye, and you realize that they have the capacity to take you to the next level, then you might interest them with like a sizzle. So we've got like a 4-minute sizzle video, and they're like, oh yeah, I want to see more. Then they'll see the proof of concept, and then they may take it to a distributor. I'm just going to say Netflix as a placeholder example, you know, and someone at Netflix will say, okay, we're going to give you this much money to make a pilot. And that could either be like 1 episode, or it might be, you know, a short season, like 6 to 9 episodes, but you've got this much money, you've got to do it, and then you've got to show it to us, and if we like it, then we'll either distribute it and or green light it to go on for another season. But you know, some shows might get greenlit for a season and they distribute and then they don't get renewed, you know. And it's a constant like industry that feels to be changing so much, and it's just about keeping faith and positivity that you're going to be generating, you're going to be attracting it. You know, I believe in the law of attraction, and thoughts become things, and what you put out, you get back. And it's not easy to hold that space and stay in that space. But I think that's a lot of what making these kind of dreams come true is all about. So yeah, if there's anyone who is a production company that has funding that is interested in the show and wants to go pick it up and take it to, you know, to a big distributor, let's go for it. And then of course you have agents as well, like, and so you'll give like a package to an agent, and the agents have all the relationships to the distributors. But there's still a lot of gatekeepers out there, and while, you know, studies are showing that our society is becoming queerer, I think the people that are in power and can make the decisions of what is being distributed haven't quite seen that vision yet. So it's just a matter of like there being a tipping point where okay, now we all get it and we're going to make it happen. Yeah.
So since you're in this space of media and entertainment and stuff like that, do you feel like we need more stuff like Bros or Fire Island, or do you feel like we need more stuff like even like Schitt's Creek, where sexuality isn't such a big deal, but it's kind of woven in there? Or do you feel like we just need something entirely different?
Yeah. So GLAAD, of course, does a lot of studies on visibility within media. And a couple of years ago, we saw bisexuals more greatly represented in media, and then the latest report showed that it's decreasing again. And so it kind of ebbs and flows. So I personally think that we need a bit of everything. So I'm not saying like remove shows like, you know, Schitt's Creek and other things, but I think that we need to add to the slate of content, both in scripted and unscripted. So of course, scripted would be something like Schitt's Creek, where somebody's written, you know, a script, and then unscripted or docu-reality would be things like me, where, you know, you make a plan for who you're going to see an interview, and you've got a broad structure of what the story might be, but you don't know what you're going to get until you actually start filming it, and then you piece it together. And that's my kind of genre, because I personally I love people. I can find a positive, heart-lifting, inspiring story in every single person I meet. I promise you. Like everyone has a story. And it's just a matter of relating to that person and untapping that story, and then figuring out how to share it in the most engaging fashion in the world. And I do think that we need more of that. I remember when we were pitching TransMilitary, and of course this was back in 2015, 2016, and CNN had a documentary with Kristen Beck, and she's a trans veteran. She had already left the military, and she was like one of the highest ranking, like in the no, she wasn't highest ranking, I'm sorry, but she was one of the SEALs that you know, went and found Osama bin Laden. Like, she was in that unit. Like, she's a complete badass. Anyway, so CNN did this documentary on Kristen Beck. So that comes out, and then we go pitch CNN, and we're like, we want to get TransMilitary. And the response was, we've already done trans people in the military. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, trans people are twice as likely to serve in the military. There's more than 15,000 active duty trans service members, and you think one documentary is going to cover that? It's like, no, like our LGBTQ plus lives are so diverse, and we're not a monolith. Like, we're intersectional. You know, I like to use the iceberg analogy for humans, where 10% is visible on the surface, 90% is underneath, and it's that delicious 90% underneath that barely gets seen and heard and told. And so I think that there is absolutely a stronger demand for more, let's say, queer under the umbrella personal storytelling, especially going back to the stats that Gen Z is like, what, now 1 in 5 identified as LGBT. I bet you any money next year it's going to be closer to 1 in 4. Like, people, we're moving in a place where society is no longer going to see, here's the LGBT plus community and here's straight people. It's going to be, here's people, and these are the labels that I use to identify or express my gender and my sexual orientation. You know, it's like another thing. 1 in 100 people are born intersex, meaning that they have any combination of male and female sex tissue, chromosomes, and hormones. That's about the number of people that are born in red hair. But we don't know that. We don't see that. Their stories aren't being told either. You know, people, even in our community, we don't know much about the asexual community, demisexual, grey sexual, all these different things. In fact, I've got can I tell a quick story? Is there time?
Yeah,
about
please.
Okay. So this was like freaking mind blowing. A couple of weeks ago, when I was coming back from the White House, and I flew back into Austin.
Casual. Yeah. When I was flying first class from Washington, D.C., chartered actually in a private jet by Biden himself.
No, I don't have a private jet yet, but anyway. But but you can come on that too, Joe.
I love my new life. I guess we can bring Nick too. It's fine.
Oh, listen, I just love this story. Just like blows my mind. So I land. I get an Uber. Get into the Uber. The person that picks me up is like 6'8", super tall. Their gender expression is masculine, white guy, like it's a minivan that like looks really run down. I'm exhausted from the flight, whatever. So anyway, so we get in the car and we're not even out the airport and he's already like, so how long have you lived in Austin or whatever? And I tell him, he goes, I just got here. I've only been here a few months. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stay because, this town's a bit too liberal for me. No one likes me. You know, I'm very hardcore, like, right. I love Trump. I love this. I love that, blah, blah, blah. Like, he loves his guns. He like everything. Okay. So really super uber over here. Right. Like hates Biden, hates anything like that. These liberal tards or whatever, you know, like, and anyway, so I'm just like listening. I'm like, okay, great. Again, I've just come back from the White House on a health policy briefing for bisexuals. Okay. I mean, the contrast was amazing. Anyway, so in these situations, when people ask me what I do, I tread very slowly and lightly to see, you know, I don't make something up, but I'm like, oh, I'm a filmmaker. Oftentimes I won't even say I'm a filmmaker because that opens up a whole other ball of questions. But I think for this case, I said I'm a filmmaker, whatever. And then luckily he was doing most of the talking and I was just listening and I was asking questions, you know, and I wanted to understand why he loved Trump so much and why he loved Abbott, for example. So Abbott is the current governor who just directed CPS to prosecute parents of trans kids for child abuse if they allowed their kids to have healthcare, which is a whole other thing. Anyway, so he loves all these people. And so then finally he's like, so what kind of films have you made? Would I get to know them? And so I took a deep breath and I said, well, let me start off by telling you that my work is around LGBTQ plus advocacy. So a lot of my films are around edutaining people on gender and sexuality. And he's like, oh, that's cool. So then I told him about TransMilitary and all of that. And then he said, what do you think about a parent allowing their 5-year-old to have the trans surgery? And I said, okay, do you mind if I just put school in session right here and educate you on something? Are you ready for this? And he's like,
I like that, school in session.
He's like, yes, let's do it. I said, great. I said, first of all, there's absolutely no frickin' surgery you can do on a 5-year-old around their genital parts. Like, it's impossible. Like, their 5-year-old hasn't even developed enough to do anything with them. I said, if a 5-year-old comes out as trans, the biggest change they're going to do is allow that kid to wear clothing that they feel comfortable in. And he got that, right? And then I said, and so then when you get your early teens, can you imagine? I said to him, I am going to make an assumption, which I know is always dangerous. I'm going to make the assumption that you are a man. You identify as a man. Is that correct? He goes, yes. I said, imagine when you were 13 or 14 years old, you started developing breasts and everybody saw you, that you looked like a girl to them, but you knew that you were a man the way you look. Okay. I said, there's a solution for that. It's called puberty blockers. And it's just putting a pause button. It's like, let's just pause puberty, not changing any body parts, but just making time for this kid to go through some teenage years to then get to an age where they're closer to 18 and they get to decide, yep, done this for a few years. I still haven't changed my mind. I know I'm my gender. And then they can start having some kind of medical, treatment or intervention, whatever makes them feel comfortable. They may or may not even have surgery. Because then I said to him, because 1 in 100 people are born intersex, meaning that they have any combination of male and female sex tissue and or hormones. At that point, this Uber driver says to me, have you ever met anyone who's intersex? I said, I probably have, but not to my knowledge, because I don't typically go around asking if someone is intersex, and we don't typically walk around showing our body parts. And he goes, well, now you've met someone who's Klinefelter XXY. I'm intersex.
Oh my God.
No.
Yes.
Oh, that is a lot to
that's a plot twist. It's like, so
that is M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Like,
so he has all of these views, even though he is one of the folks that is impacted.
And and for me, it shows us as an LGBTQ plus community, we need to do our work too. We need to be mindful that not everyone who is under our umbrella even feels that they are in our community. He by no means thinks that he is in the quote unquote gay community. He's got no idea. He doesn't have a community of intersex people that he runs around with. Mm-hmm. And he said, I didn't know that I was intersex until I was in my late 20s because I was born with a penis. He just said it out, Frank. Because I was born with a penis, but inside I've got women bits. And because there are like more than 60 different combinations of being intersex. Like some intersex people don't ever realize, or they might not realize till they're in puberty, because you could have a visible penis, but then ovaries, or you could have a visible vagina, but then testes. Like, and so again, it's a combination of sex tissue, chromosomes, and hormones.
Wow.
And so I think that this is another area of our community that we have been overlooking. Like, so much bisexual people have been overlooked, like intersex people have been totally overlooked too. Intersex people are still banned from serving in the military, by the way.
Oh my God.
So we still haven't finished the job.
Well, once you're breaking the barriers for bi people, then you'll break the barriers for intersex, and then you'll run for president.
I don't know about that. I would like to be the president's spouse when she's elected.
There you go.
But I will tell you, when he dropped me off in my camper, we got out and we gave each other a massive hug. And I showed him the picture. I said, I have to show you. I've got this beautiful illustration of a baby in utero and all the different intersex labels against it. And I said, I just want you to see this. And he's like, that is gorgeous. And he pointed to the one that was most similar to his. And we gave each other a hug, and that's it. So, it's like, if we just listen to each other a little bit more and there's no point in hating everybody. Mm-hmm. We don't have to agree, but we can at least listen to each other's stories. You never know what you're going to hear.
I know. It's awesome.
Reach.
So as we get to the end of this episode, I do want to ask you about your own podcast and how does it differ being a guest on a podcast and hosting yours, which is called Now with Fiona, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I love being a guest because I get to talk more.
I know. We love you as a guest. I was just like, I feel so inspired. I'm going to move to Texas. I'm going to live in a camper. I'm going to shit so raccoons can eat it. It's great.
Yeah, I love both. I love being the host. I'm sure you agree. It's like you get to meet these people and unpack their stories and dive into it and help all the listeners and everyone in the world connect and hear each other. And so, yeah, it's great. I love it.
Well, Fiona, we're coming to the end of our show, so I just want to thank you for being here. We're going to do our quick fire, but before we do
Hang
that,
on.
oh, we have one more question.
This is probably the most important question, actually. So, did you notice an uptick in popularity after Shrek came out?
Yes. Oh God.
Because of Princess Fiona.
Got it.
I'm glad that she laughed.
How can you imagine?
I was like,
Everyone in the room is like, God, I hate you.
Oh no!
And I'm
Some
like, it's
people
fine.
say. No, people would say like if a guy wants to, and typically it is a guy. Girls don't say this. If a guy wants to like do a cheesy hit on comment, it's like, "Oh, I'll be your Shrek."
Has someone ever done that to you?
Oh yeah, I love.
Oh my God, yes.
and they're like, do you want to come back to my swamp?
And then Doggy rolls in. It's like, hey Fiona, yeah, Princess Fiona, let's go back. Okay, that was the only fun joke that I had.
Well, or people would say, "Oh, but you don't look green. You don't look like an ogre." And like, you know what? Even if I did, it doesn't matter because I'm just as beautiful on the inside and the out. It doesn't matter what we look like.
Amen.
But
So,
yeah, I
Fiona,
tell
why don't you
people
tell-
Yeah, I was going to say my name. When people ask me my name, I say it's Fiona like the princess, Dawson like Dawson's Creek.
Oh, there you go.
See, Shrek lives on. That's a
timeless
movie.
Always.
So, Fiona, why don't you tell all of our listeners how to find you on the socials?
Okay, so first of all, listener, I'm really sorry, but I'm dreadful
She's like, I have
at socials.
400.
Would anyone like to come manage my social for me? So on the socials, handle that I've had forever is at Fiona J. Dawson. So J is my middle name. Sorry, J is the initial for my middle name, which is Jane. So at Fiona J. Dawson or at Now with Fiona. And of course, nowwithfiona.com is like a one-stop shop and the links to all the socials there and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But please forgive me because I'm just not very responsive on social. And I know I need to do a better job.
And I see you don't have a TikTok yet.
I know I need a TikTok too. I do have a TikTok, but I've like done 2 things on it. But bisexual TikTok is amazing. There's lots of great stuff like on TikTok. I should.
We
do
lost
all
you
the
for a minute,
socials.
and we were like, "Oh my God, did we lose her?"
Oh gosh, it's the internet. The internet's cracking up, isn't it?
Girl, you gotta pay your bill.
I'm in the camper.
Okay, then pay your 5G or whatever. Get your Verizon Cube.
I'm trying.
All right, so we're gonna do our rapid fire. All right, so all right, who in Hollywood is your dream catch to work with?
Oh my God.
Anyone at all? Ooh,
You're gonna have
stumped
to.
her.
You have. Oh, I know. Do you want to ask me the question again, and I'll answer quicker?
Who in Hollywood is your dream catch to work with?
Karamo Brown.
Oh, from Queer Eye. Look at you.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
very positive.
He's amazing, and in fact, I kind of met him years ago in Houston. Like, we used to know of each other, and about 5 years ago at a GLAAD Awards, he actually knew my name and said hello and gave me a hug and said we need to have coffee.
Oh.
And then he got really famous, and now he doesn't reply to any of my messages.
Oh no!
I would love Karamo. I'd love to reconnect with Karamo, actually.
Okay.
What is it? My crush or what? Just who I want to work with in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, Lord. Always.
I love him. He's just so fun. Or I really like, oh my God, what's the girl from, you go and I'll remember her name.
I would want to work with Robin because I think we could do a really cool musical based on dancing by myself. Like this whole ordeal and just base it around Robin songs. Like Call Your Girlfriend, Fembot, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It was Charlize Theron.
Oh, Charlize Theron. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very, very sexy.
What's yours?
I was dancing to Robin in the shower in my camper the other night. I had it blasted, dancing by myself.
You have
in my
a full
camper
shower?
Yeah. Got a full bathroom.
She's living in luxury. I need to move into a camper.
I love ramen because I was telling somebody the story about when I was in culinary school, and for English class we had to do like presentations, and my presentation was on Dancing with Myself by Robin, and like how the song is a perfect pop song and how the video is a great representation of the song.
Is that the one where she it was one take? No, that was Call Your Girlfriend.
Yeah, that was Call Your Girlfriend.
Where she's doing like little like whatever this thing is. Okay, my rapid fire question to you is which Girl Scout cookie would you be and why?
Well, we didn't grow up with Girl Scout cookies where I'm from. But
and they're called biscuits there?
Oh,
yeah.
God. Okay, well, I mean,
but you've been
in Texas for 20 years, so welcome. Like, the Girl Scouts are there.
Thank you. So, I think I don't know the names of them, but the mint thin is a nice one because it tastes a bit like a crunchy After Eight.
Okay.
You know, do you know After Eights, the chocolate?
No, but I'm nodding like we do.
Oh.
Is it you eat it after 8 meals or after 8 o'clock?
No, that's it. That's a good idea.
Oh, after I've eaten. Like, I ate. Like, after I ate?
No, it's after 8, but it is the number 8, and it's got a clock face on it. But it's a very classic British chocolate that you would have after dinner, like a mint. But it's like a mint. It's like a mint thin, but then without the cookies and the mint thin. But then there's that other one that's ridiculous, like the Girl Scout cookie, and it's got everything. It's got coconut and caramel.
The Samoas, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing. I
like the peanut butter tagalongs. Those are my favorite.
Every time I see Tagalogs, I always think Tagalog.
Tagalog, yeah.
Because I'm Filipino, so that's my language.
Mabuhay.
All right, so last one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What chip and dip are you? You can pick any dip, any chip, anything that you can dip into the dip. We're hard-hitting journalism here. Come on.
Can I be more than one chip?
Yes. Whatever you want to dip into your dip. Go ahead, girl. Get freaky with it. You're bisexual, so you're greedy.
Exactly. I can't just have one. I gotta have more than one. I'll just have one dip, but I'll have 2 chips, and then I'll pile them up. So I'll have like the thickest, creamiest, delicious queso.
Okay.
Never find. Probably like there's a Tex-Mex restaurant down the street called Chewy's. I'd probably have like their queso, and I would get Fritos, like the curvy Fritos, so you can scoop it up and fill it up. But I love Pringles, and so I can't leave the Pringles out. So I would probably have the Fritos.
Queso?
Do that,
with
and then
queso?
I would have a combination. So I'd like scoop up the queso with the scoop Frito, and then I would dip the Pringle in, and I would take turns.
Yeah, because the Pringle's not very. The Pringle's not going to be able to hold if you dip it. But like if you dunk it, you should be able to do it.
Just a little bit.
I'm a sassy. I'm like her. I'm a sassy like cheese dip. You know, a little zing to it. But I want to do it with like toasted baguette. What'd you call me? So what are you, Joe?
My it's probably my favorite dip, which is artichoke dip. But like the artichoke dip my mom makes, and it's because it's mayonnaise.
Okay,
it's like mayonnaise and like a little bit of artichoke hearts. But then they're the like cars. It's like cars crackers or whatever, and they kind of like butter crackers. They like melt. Oh, they're so good with that. That's what.
Now we're hungry.
Oh, or 7-layer dip.
Oh, okay.
The like I don't know what the layers.
The Mexican layer.
Yeah.
Dip. Okay.
I want dip.
Well, Fiona, thank you so much for being here. This was so like inspiring and educational and entertaining. That's
infotainment.
Or infotainment.
Infotainment. There we go.
So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time, and thank you so much. And everyone, have a great week.
Special thanks to Andrew Smith and Nick Stone for producing the show. If you like us, please follow us at TUGaysPod on Instagram and visit us online at tugayspod.com. You can find us anywhere you can stream podcasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know topics you'd like to hear. And always remember, stay safe, stay classy, stay sassy, and always stay a little bit trashy. See you next week.